Croatia is a European paradise. Turquoise waters, sun-drenched islands, and stretches of golden beaches that seem straight out of a postcard. But behind the perfect views, the reality is far from dreamy. By 2025, locals are facing sky-high rents, low wages, and a daily struggle that makes even a simple night out feel like a luxury. From cramped apartments in the city to overcrowded buses, this is what life in Croatia is really like, day after day, in the streets, homes, and lives of the locals. And at the heart of it all lies the biggest struggle, the cost of simply existing. Croatia might look like paradise on Instagram, crystal blue seas, medieval towns, cozy cafes. But for the people actually living here, 2025 feels more like a survival game. Let's talk money. The official average salary in Croatia is around 1,300 euros. Sounds okay, right? Here's the truth. Most people never see that. For service workers, the reality is closer to 1,100 euros. And what does that really buy? Not much. A single person's basic monthly expenses, food, transport, utilities, can easily swallow up over 900 euros. And that's before rent even enters the picture. So what's left? Practically nothing. And it gets worse. Coastal cities like Split and Dubrovnik, where tourism rules, are way more expensive than inland towns. In Zagreb, groceries and bills are tough but manageable. Down in Dubrovnik, though, the same bag of food costs more, and summer electricity bills shoot through the roof. People are stuck working in the most expensive cities while earning paychecks that barely cover survival. Meanwhile, wages crawl forward in slow motion. Yes, they rise here and there, but compared to the surge in prices, especially after the pandemic and the war in Ukraine, they feel meaningless. Eurostat reports food prices jumped over 25% between 2021 and 2023. Your paycheck goes up a little. Your grocery bill shoots up way more. Take Ivana, a 34-year-old shop assistant in Split. She earns just over 1,000 euros a month. After paying for groceries, bills, and bus fare, she often left with 100 euros. Forget saving for a home or a car, she's saving for next week's groceries. This is the hidden math of life in Croatia. The numbers don't add up, and it's ordinary people who pay the price. If food and bills are draining Croatians, housing is the part that breaks them. In cities like Zagreb, Split, and Dubrovnik, rent has skyrocketed to levels locals simply can't keep up with. A small one-bedroom apartment in Split can easily cost well over 800 euros a month. That's 3/4 of a local's paycheck. For locals, it's not just hard, it's impossible. A huge culprit? Tourism and Airbnb. What used to be long-term apartments for locals have been turned into short-term rentals for tourists. Landlords can make triple renting to tourists, so why settle for renting to a Croatian family? In Dubrovnik, locals joke it's easier to find a medieval castle than a reasonably priced apartment. Funny until you realize it's forcing real people out of their homes. The result? Young people are stuck. Some move back in with their parents well into their 30s. Others leave coastal cities altogether, searching for cheaper inland towns, or, more often, leaving Croatia entirely for better chances abroad. The country is losing not just renters, but a whole generation who can't afford to build their lives here. Ask someone like Marco, a 29-year-old waiter in Dubrovnik. He works 6 days a week in peak season, yet still lives with his parents because even sharing an apartment with roommates would eat up nearly everything he earns. His story isn't rare, it's the norm. This is the housing reality in 2025. Locals pushed out, homes turned into tourist rentals, and the dream of owning a place of your own buried under rising rent. Because here's the truth, if you're young and educated in Croatia, odds are the system has nothing to offer you. The job market is completely one-sided. Tourism dominates everything, making up nearly 20% of Croatia's GDP, one of the highest rates in Europe. That means plenty of short-term work as waiters, cleaners, and guides. But what about engineers, doctors, or IT specialists? They're either underpaid or forced to accept jobs far below their qualifications. A graduate in Zagreb might earn little more than someone serving drinks on the coast. This isn't just frustrating, it's wasting potential. Croatia invests in young people's education, only to offer them jobs that barely pay the bills. It's no surprise that since joining the EU in 2013, over 400,000 Croatians have left the country, most of them young and talented. For a country of just 3.8 million people, that's like losing an entire generation. The emotional toll is just as brutal as the economic one. Villages are emptying out, and hospitals can't find enough staff. Grandparents are left behind while their kids build new lives in Germany, Ireland, or Austria. Parents wave goodbye at the airport, not knowing if their children will ever return. Ask anyone in Croatia, and they'll tell you everybody knows someone who has left, a cousin in Ireland, a friend in Austria, a whole family in Germany. Many young people put it bluntly: you either work in tourism, work for peanuts, or you leave. And for thousands, leaving isn't just chasing a dream, it's escaping a trap. And that's the harshest truth of all. When the best and brightest leave, the cracks start to show everywhere else. Croatia isn't just losing workers, it's losing teachers, doctors, and engineers. And when that happens, daily life suffers. Schools in smaller towns close their doors, not because of funding cuts, but because there simply aren't enough children to fill the classrooms. Croatia has lost over 70,000 primary school students in just 15 years, and in some rural areas, entire schools have disappeared as villages empty out. And in healthcare, the picture is just as bleak. The average wait for a first diagnostic examination is 146 days, almost 5 months. For some patients, it's worse. They wait more than 9 months just to see a specialist. Hospitals can't find enough doctors or nurses, and those who remain are overwhelmed. And then there's the bigger problem: trust, or rather, the lack of it. People are hitting the streets over housing, wages, corruption, you name it. But when election day comes around, fewer and fewer even bother to vote. In 2020, less than half the country showed up to cast a ballot. And if you ask people why, the answer is almost always the same: why should I? Nothing changes. But here's the thing. Yeah, it's tough, but hopelessness isn't the whole story. There are sparks of change. EU funds are flowing into infrastructure projects. Young people are speaking up about housing, and even renewable energy is starting to take off on the coast. It's not a silver bullet, but it's a reminder. People are fighting to make things better. Croatia isn't just sitting back, it's pushing forward, slowly but surely. Tourism is Croatia's golden goose, but for locals, it's also a curse. Every summer, millions of tourists flood cities like Dubrovnik, Split, and Var. They spend freely on cocktails, boat rides, and Airbnbs. To outsiders, Croatia looks like a bargain, but for locals, prices skyrocket the moment the season begins. The same beer that costs €2 in winter suddenly jumps to €5 in July. Even electricity bills climb. Landlords keep apartments running for guests while locals foot the cost of an overheated grid. And the jobs? Sure, tourism brings work, but it's mostly seasonal, unstable, and underpaid. A waiter in Dubrovnik might work 10-hour shifts all summer just to scrape by, then face unemployment as soon as winter hits. It's feast or famine, and there's never security. Meanwhile, historic cities turn into theme parks. Dubrovnik's old town feels more like a film set than a neighborhood. Locals move out, souvenir shops move in, and entire districts become playgrounds for foreigners. Residents often say, it's like living in a country that isn't ours anymore. Tourism keeps the economy alive, but it's squeezing everyday people dry. The same industry that sells Croatia as affordable paradise has made it nearly unaffordable for those who actually live there. And that's the problem. Outside of tourism, opportunities are disappearing fast. So, is Croatia at a breaking point or a turning point? The struggles are real. Low wages, sky-high rents, and a whole generation packing their bags for somewhere else. But the sparks of hope are real too. The question is, can Croatia turn the corner and finally build a future where its people stay, thrive, and actually call this paradise their home, not just a postcard for tourists? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.